Bill O'Reilly was talking about white privilege. It's a subject that's been going around in the news in the past week. Tal Fortgang is a young conservative who says he doesn't need to check his privilege. And now there's a class or an orientation course, I suppose, that is going to be required at an Ivy League university at Harvard. And they are debating whether or not this makes sense. Let's see if you can guess before we roll the video, does Bill O'Reilly believe in the notion of white privilege? Let's see.
Now, to some, the words white privilege are code. They really mean white supremacy. White privilege, Reverend, what does that mean to you?
Well, white privilege speaks to the benefits that some enjoy based on their race in this society. It doesn't speak to their advantage or their inclination of any individual.
I'm a really white guy. When I was in Hawaii last week, I couldn't go in the sun. If I was in the sun for 3 minutes, my ears would fall off. All right? Now, I'm from Levittown, as you might know, out on Long Island. And my parents didn't have a lot of money. All right? Do I have white privilege? Am I privileged in any way under this banner?
Yes. Because none of the things that you've indicated speak to the issue of white privilege. White privilege isn't whether your skin pigmentation is strong or weak. It isn't how much money you have in the bank. It is you are the beneficiary of years of whites having an advantage in this country based on.
But I didn't experience that when I worked in Carvel, painted houses, cut lawns.
But others have experienced it. Others experienced it.
All right,
Again, it's not a question of whether you're a good person or work hard.
I'm going to have to exempt myself under that white privilege banner.
I love that he's using the example of him vacationing in Hawaii to explain how he is not a product of white privilege. But I just want to really quickly say something. Yeah, I just want to make a really quick point about that whole conversation, though. First of all, Bill O'Reilly has no interest in learning about or understanding what white privilege is. So what I'm about to say wouldn't work if it was presented to him on the program. But the way that it's discussed on the show, I don't think is a good way of getting the point across either. If you want to talk about white privilege, you talk about institutionalized racism. You talk about how a disproportionate amount of black people are serving jail sentences for nonviolent drug offenses. Even when you look at the numbers and you notice, hey, you know what, there's no difference between white people and black people smoking pot, but for some reason black people are prosecuted and sent to prison at higher rates than white people. So you can bring up an example like that, and you give specific numbers. You can bring up the example of a 16-year-old kid driving drunk, crashing into 4 people at the side of the road and killing them, and then getting off with no prison sentence at all because he can say that affluenza is his defense. So you bring up cases like that. But by trying to explain it by saying, hey, you know what, your parents had a certain amount of money, whatever, it's not going to get through to people. You got to bring up specific statistics. But nonetheless, even if you do bring up those statistics on a show like Bill O'Reilly's, he has no interest in understanding what white privilege is.
I like, thank you, Reverend Jacques de Graaf, who was because I like this is my impression of him during Bill O'Reilly's. Like, it would be funny. Like when I went out in the sun in Hawaii, and my ears were going to fall off. I went out there for 3 minutes, and I grew up in Levittown. And here's Jacques de Graaf.
He wasn't playing ball.
No, he was not like,
I don't think he's going to work there much longer.
Yeah, and I think you make a great point, Anna, but I think it's also important that, like, if we're the phrase, later there's I don't know if are we going to play Stuart Varney?
Yeah, we will.
So Stuart Varney calls it divisive, and it can be divisive because, of course, it has the effect of making people who aren't racist bristle.
Yeah.
Because when
they don't understand what it means.
Because they don't understand what it means, and they think, "What? I didn't do anything wrong. I actually do have black friends, and I don't judge people based on race."
Right. And I worked really hard to get to where I am. And I think that when you hear something like white privilege, people think that it discounts what they've achieved in life, and that's not necessarily the case. It's talking about a larger system, a larger problem in society.
And that's the point that Jacques de Graaf was eloquently trying to make.
Yeah, and why he probably won't be back on the show.
Right, he probably won't be back on the show. But I like how I really love that he didn't play along with, because it's very tempting, even if you disagree with O'Reilly, even to be like, he's the host and he's this gregarious guy, and you want to be like, yeah, you were in Hawaii and you got sunburned, white person.
Yeah. And so I understand that whenever we talk about white privilege, the audience, I will say, on YouTube generally is not fond of the term. And so they probably will not listen to what I'm saying right now. But white privilege does not mean that you were rich, and it doesn't mean that your skin is resistant to the effects of the sun. All it means is, as you go through your day, you benefit in innumerable ways based on the color of your skin without having to do anything to get it. It has nothing to do with you being able to call up and get $1 million. It means that in many ways you get the benefit of the doubt and you benefit from government policies that might have been around 80 years ago. If they were giving low interest rate loans to get homes 60 years ago and your ancestors were able to get it and now they have something that they can do another mortgage on to pay for you to go to college, that's a privilege you had based on government policies long before you were born.
Are you trying to give Bill O'Reilly's history? Because that's it.
It's probably, yes.
No,
Levittown.
It's not
Levittown,
no,
literally.
it isn't. That's what happened. He benefited from it in Levittown. And it doesn't mean you're a bad guy.
No, you didn't do anything, but you benefit.
I definitely benefited from it. I benefited from it in enormous ways. I'm a super great guy. But I benefited from it. And it doesn't mean that I give everything I have to some immigrant, because I should, right? Yeah. But it does mean that all we're trying to do is acknowledge it. I don't think it's a great phrase, because I think it is divisive, and I think it alienates people who are prepared to side with progressives on a number of issues.
Yeah. Well, I will say, the reason I think fundamentally conservatives, or especially white conservatives, will never be able to acknowledge that it exists is because I guess the foundation of conservatism is the idea that only people who work hard will succeed in life. And so if I'm a success, it's because I worked hard. I can't acknowledge that anything helped me along the way, except for one thing. You can acknowledge that God helped you along the way only because he conveniently does not exist. But let's go to Stuart Varney. We've got a little bit more of it. Stuart Varney doesn't necessarily agree all the way with Bill O'Reilly, but let's watch.
Now, is this all BS to you, white privilege?
No, it's not BS.
No?
Historically, I think that is accurate. White privilege existed in the past. But I don't think that you right historical wrongs by guilting the present. This white privilege idea is divisive. I got a black grandson. I've got a multiracial family. Am I supposed to teach that young man, great kid, am I supposed to teach him that his granddad exists because of white privilege? And that
or was successful because of it.
Or success because of white privilege. That will be divisive. And I'll not have that kind of division in my family. He's a great kid, and that's what he is. He's a kid.
It doesn't matter if it's true. It'll be divisive. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you exist because of it. Your body would not suddenly turn into individual atoms floating around in the galaxy if not for it.
Notice O'Reilly even corrected that. Yeah. Riley was like, he benefited. Riley was like, I can't quite like that. That would go. And by the way, look, I mean, first of all, I'm sorry that Stuart Varney is your grandfather. That must suck. But yeah, by the way, that's not divisive at all. Like, I come from a family and we had wonderful benefits, and now thankfully we're able to pass them on to you. We should recognize, in whatever way that is, that not everyone had those benefits, and life was much tougher for a lot of people just because of the place and station that they were born and the color of their skin. And that's true about life, and that's not something we should necessarily feel guilty about, but that's something that we should slowly, incrementally be working to understand and hopefully change a little. We know that we're not going to frickin' ever even the playing field always among everybody, but I think we would all like it if people had, because it's the land of opportunity, and we would like it if that opportunity were basically equal.